Good afternoon, guys. It is March 24th, 2023. On this video here, I want to talk about I want to address something that really has kind of been thrown around kind of as a joke or something to poke fun at certain collectors in the vacuum community. And it's not been me specifically or anybody else, but I've heard a lot of collectors who don't like, cheap Walmart vacuums, calling people who collect Bissell kids. Now, here's my problem with that. What makes that okay to call somebody that? I mean, and yes, I understand that, a lot of the younger kids that, are into vacuums and stuff, they start out with Bissells and stuff because they're cheap and they're very common. But, that's just kind of a ridiculous thing to call somebody, because believe me, I know plenty of adults that are in their 20s and 30s that collect Bissells, that enjoy Bissells and other machines. So, and not to mention the average consumers that enjoy Bissells. Now, are Bissells the best vacuum in the world? No. Definitely not. There is definitely far better. However, just because somebody is a fan of Bissells or enjoys Bissells does not mean that they're a little kid or they're immature or they haven't grown up. I mean, that's just silliness, because, so let me ask you this. Would you walk up to an average consumer who has bought a Bissell and say, "Oh, you're a Bissell kid"? No. I mean, to me, it's not right. It's just name calling, and it's just making a stereotype, basically, which is not okay. It's just not. And Bissells have a place in the market. I mean, they just do. I mean, they're affordable for just about anybody to get a hold of one if they need one. If they need a vacuum and they can't afford something like a Kirby or an Oreck or, just they're in the marketplace for a reason, and it doesn't matter who likes what or what you like or don't like. it's not okay to poke fun at somebody for liking a certain machine. You know, because to be honest, there's, a lot of machines that I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of Sharks. I'm not the biggest fan of Dysons. I mean, they're cool, but I don't like how much is involved to work on them and repair them. And I'm just not a big fan of, some of these super high-end machines like, the tandem air machines and stuff like that, because there's a lot going on in them. I'm not a big fan of the Miele uprights and, things like that, because there's a lot going on. There's just more to deal with when you have to repair them. But that doesn't mean that I'm against people who do like them. That doesn't mean that I'm, pointing at people saying, hey, well, you're a Miele kid, or you're a Dyson kid, or you're a whatever, So, I just wanted to make this video just to address that, because that's been going on for a while, and, it needs to stop, because a Bissell is a real vacuum that actually does the job. It's not necessarily like child's toy. Now, compared to something like, a Sebo or a Kirby or an Oric, yeah, it kind of feels toy-like. There's no question about that. But that doesn't mean that we poke fun at people for buying those. I mean, it's just not cool, And, a lot of people have been accusing me of kind of doing this stuff, and I don't call people names or say that you're wrong for buying certain machines or whatever. All I'm doing when I come on here and give suggestions, it's just that, a suggestion. It's a recommendation. I try to point out the pros and cons of each machine. I try to look at build quality. I try to look at reliability. I try to look at parts availability, parts costs, maintenance costs, and, longevity and how long it's going to last. I mean, I try to look at all of that stuff. And I don't care, at the end of the day, I don't care what you buy or what you don't buy. If you want to buy something that I don't recommend or that I think is not that great, then that is totally fine. It is totally up to you. It is your choice and your money. But what I am doing is I'm trying to recommend and kind of point out some of the pros and cons and some of the things that I think are decent, because I'm not somebody who just thinks of like, well, just buy a vacuum and, it works, so just buy it. No, I look at all of the variables, all of the things, the maintenance, the amount of maintenance that's required, the maintenance costs, the parts availability, the longevity, how common the machine is, because that plays a factor in parts availability and longevity too. So there's just a bunch of things like that. But back to my main point. Calling people in the vacuum community Bissell kids because they collect cheaper machines that aren't super cool or super, incredible is not right, It's not okay because, we all have our preferences. We all have things we like and don't like. And to call somebody names just because you don't like that they collect cheap so-called junk is not okay. So, if you don't like their stuff, then don't watch it. If you don't agree with them, then that's fine. But you don't need to call people names or call people out for it because you don't like them. If you're not interested in them, then you can just quietly leave. That's just it. I mean, I've come across many channels of vacuum enthusiasts that I'm not very interested in. But I never, go out of my way to comment and say, oh, you Bissell kid, or you don't like this, or you're kind of childish on this stuff. I mean, that's not okay. And just leave people alone, let them do what they're passionate about and what they enjoy. And if you like their stuff, then that's cool. If you don't like it, then that's cool too. But just keep your mouth shut. That's all you gotta do. So anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.